All right, joining me now is Democratic Congressman Mike Quigley from Illinois. He is the co-chair of the Congressional Ukraine Caucus. All right, Trump is finally calling Putin out with very strong words. I am curious for you, are you hopeful that this is actually a major shift in tone towards Putin that will lead to more support of Ukraine?
Look, comes the dawn for President Trump. The first invasion by Russia into Ukraine was over 10 years ago. This war is 3 years old. I stood on the mass grave at Bucha, saw the flattened maternity hospital. Over 90% of the Russian attacks are on civilian targets. So I think we understand on Memorial Day, our history, that Hitler didn't listen to the words of Chamberlain. He paid attention to the actions of Churchill. Putin doesn't understand strongly worded tweets. He understands action. And frankly, Ukraine needs landmines, air defense systems, intelligence, and artillery shells. So I appreciate the comments. I hope they mean something else. But I think in the long run, the president has to do something else to actually deter Putin.
Yeah, I was also in Ukraine as Putin and his army were hitting schools and hitting hospitals and killing people in the places that were supposed to be safe havens. There are rules to war. I am curious, though, when you hear from Donald Trump on Putin saying he's gone absolutely crazy, he is also criticizing Zelensky, who has said he didn't feel that the U.S. was vocal enough about what was happening. This is the worst drone attack they've seen since the war began from Russia. And Trump's response to Zelensky is basically, I don't like what you're saying, and stop it. Are you concerned that the relationship between these three men is going to leave Ukraine in a position where the United States could potentially just walk away?
I'm very frustrated, and obviously I have that concern, but you can't blame President Zelensky. Again, the president seems to equate the two as if it was just some sort of border dispute instead of Russia invading Ukraine. For Zelensky, his people are being butchered, and there's a very real threat that Putin wants to take the whole of the country, and he doesn't see anything the United States is doing that would actually help. I understand the diplomatic aspects of this, but every time I've talked to Zelensky, I think that's 7 times in my 5 visits there now since the war started, he begins every conversation publicly and with us, thanking the American people for what they're doing. But in the end, we're backing them up, but they're fighting on the front lines for democracy for all of us. Again, it's Memorial Day. It's time to appreciate that and understand its significance. We're helping them for the same reasons we fought the Second World War and what we did in its aftermath to build that democratic world order, a world order that's in peril right now.
Yeah, and while, Russia has been able to recruit North Koreans, Ukraine is going at this alone with their men and women on the front lines all these 3 years. I do want to change the subject here a bit because of new information that has just come in a social media post by Donald Trump, as he is wont to do. Donald Trump has been demanding a full list of foreign students attending Harvard. First, he said it was to check to see if they were, quote, okay. But now we're getting perhaps the real reason. And in his social media post that he just posted a few moments ago this morning, he says, we are still waiting for the foreign students list from Harvard so that we can determine, after a ridiculous expenditure of billions of dollars, how many radicalized lunatics, troublemakers all, should not be let back into our country. He's calling these students potential lunatics and troublemakers, literally some of the most intelligent young people in our midst. I'm just curious as to what your reaction is to hearing this morning.
Sure. I attended the University of Chicago, still teach a class there. I see firsthand the asset that these major universities are. They are the envy of the world, and the research they do and the education they provide makes us stronger economically, socially, culturally, politically. And to threaten them this way makes no sense. Those foreign students are an extraordinary asset. They add to the economic, academic diversity and strength of the universities. Um, and they add to the cultural exchange that's extremely important. So uh, we can't destroy this system that is so valuable to us. Again, the envy of the world. And there is a visa program for students in which these students, that's the process that's already in place to make sure we're not bringing anyone who might be dangerous. But the final analysis, they're an asset to these universities and to our country and the rest of the world. And that's okay for us to get along with the rest of the world, especially our friends and allies.
Yeah, I do want to point out that the co-president of Harvard's Undergraduate Student Association, Abdullah Shahid Sial, just talked to me last hour, and he said the students really are afraid and they feel like they're being made pawns in this fight when they're just trying to go to school, get their education in a place that they admired once and now are considering going elsewhere outside of America to get their education. Congressman Mike Quigley, it is a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here on this day as we honor our fallen soldiers. We really appreciate it. Happy Memorial Day to you.
Thanks to everyone out there. We appreciate their service.